Physics, Government Holkar Science College, Indore. On behalf of Holkar Science College, first of all, I welcome Dr. R.S. Patil sir, who is retired professor, Department of Physics and Astrophysics, the new college, Kolhapur, Maharashtra. Today, he will deliver his lecture on modern physics, beginning a new perception. For introduction, I call Dr. Rakesh Dagavkar sir
हे जायला पाहिजे रे
to introduce Dr. Patil sir. Please, Dr. Dagavkar sir.
नाही शेर
जी सर. ओके. गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीबॉडी.
हे काय जाणार त्यांनी काढले की जाणार आहे.
हेलो, आवाज आ रही सबको?
हाँ आ रही बोलो.
हाँ, गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीबॉडी. Hello everyone and welcome to the I welcome you all to the fourth lecture of a webinar series based on modern physics and material series. Today's lecture Dr. R.S. Patil, who believes that socio-economic challenges can be resolved through scientific attitudes. Dr. Patil is a retired professor of physics from Kolhapur College. He has 37 years of teaching experience. The research field of Dr. Patil is Dr. Patil is a retired professor of physics from Kolhapur. He has 37 years of teaching experience. Research field of Dr. Patil is energy harvesting, storage and conversion. He had completed 2 UGC projects. Today, he will deliver a lecture on the subject modern physics, beginning of a new participation. Now, I hand over to Mr. Patil. Hello?
Yes, Dr. Patil sir, please start.
Dr. Patil sir, you can start.
Sir, पहले
You
unmute
may start.
पाटिल सर अनम्यूट करें खुद को.
हाँ
यस सर, स्टार्ट.
अभी आ रहे हैं आवाज.
यस सर.
ओके.
ओके सर.
Good morning to all my dear participants. I am very much thankful for my very kind introduction by the host college professor. So I think now we are, all of you along with me will enjoy next 1.5 hours or 1 hour so. This slide indicates my introduction. So, I welcome all the fertile minds on this digital platform. It is not a simple welcome to all the participants because we are a gathering of learners, researchers, and teachers. So naturally, my role has slightly broadened to inculcate every one of you. I would like you to tune with me to have a very introspective journey through the domain of science and technology. I have selected 3 fields of interest. One is space technology. As you see from the screen, we applied Newton's laws of third law of motion. We created a rocket, and what is seen in the first picture is a chemical rocket, and you know that tons of fuel is required for the rocket propulsion, and the space scientists are really thinking about the alternative, and now we have the alternative of magnetoplasma rocket. The fuel is a small volume of inert gas which is placed in a magnetic bottle. It is converted into cold plasma with the help of radio waves. Then it is passed through the cyclotron, resonating cavity, and at the end it is ignited. You will see the clear difference between the exhaust of chemical rocket and that of magnetoplasma rocket. So I would like you to see this video.
Our pipe through which the exhaust goes is a magnetic pipe and invisible force. We have eliminated the most fundamental limitation in rocket propulsion, which is how hot you can make the exhaust. Inject propellant and neutral gas into the ionization chamber. We launch radio waves. Those radio waves convert that gas into a cold plasma. This plasma proceeds into the booster section via ion cyclotron resonance.
Next step would be to put electrical energy in to superheat the gas.
So you saw that the scientists are really worried about the resources we have, and therefore they are thinking about green alternatives to save the environment and to proceed. The second field I have selected is a robotic technology, which has started long back, and yes, we all of us have experienced a very nice and gigantic growth in the mechanical world. You will wonder that the first mechanical robo was introduced in 1770 by a Swiss watchmaker when he was 50-year-old. Now look at this writing doll, which was created by him, and you will find that there are 6,000 parts in this body, and that doll work on his own. Now look at this fantastic work 250 years ago.
One of the most remarkable realizations of CAM technology is a device in the shape of a small boy. It's perhaps the world's most astonishing surviving automaton.
What's on this card? 40 years of the 18th century. Switzerland to Jacques Droz was about 50 years old.
Inside the boy are almost 6,000 parts. What's astonishing is that every one of these crafted components has been refined and miniaturized to fit completely inside the body of the boy himself.
Prasad,
What Jacques Droz did was to use the technologies of homeostasis, of miniaturization, to build really a true automaton. Inside the little writer is all his source of energy and all the machinery that drives him. He works on his own.
So you have seen the passion and the aim of very, very fertile minds. And this has been the main task of a scientific community. And you will not wonder that one day you will not recognize whether you are talking to a humanoid or a human being. Look at this, Sophia, to understand.
Sophia here. I'm not sure I know what it really means to be human.
If I ask you to give some expressions, you cannot exceed 5 or 6. But she is partly scripted and artificial intelligence. By this, our aim is maybe to reproduce ourselves. That is what is called as a cloning technology. But the same technology can be used very positively for the mankind. And you will see that the research in the genetic engineering has gone to the 3D printing of human parts, which will be made available in the market in the coming years. So what you saw in this slide was the domain of human endeavor. Not all the people, but very few and select people who are working for the. But what is the ultimate aim of human beings? If I ask this question to you, the answer will be very, very simple. Every person, every human being on this planet want a satisfied life, satisfactory life, and peaceful life. But if you look at the present status of the life on the earth, you'll find that it is full of hectic and worries and everything you name out. But the great minds always work at the root level. As you see in this slide, Albert Einstein once visited Japan for the room boy. So he gave a letter, and that is called Theory of Happiness letter to boy. And you will be surprised that recently this letter has been sold for 1.52 million US dollars. So at the rate of 70 rupees per dollar, a calm and modest life, brings more happiness than the constant pursuit of success combined with constant restlessness. So this is a message given by great minds. Now you can see that 100 years before the condition was same, and the same condition will continue throughout the era of human civilization. That's what I believe. Now you will definitely agree with me that every one of us has a belief system. Like that, I have my own belief system, and that is really nurtured in me throughout my life as a teacher, as a friend, as a family member, and family leader. What I believe in is that if you want a peaceful and progressive life, we must have two things in us. The first is scientific attitude. That attitude is generated by the thinking of a scientist. So we must know how a scientist thinks. Then only we can develop scientific attitude. Second requirement, we always see our leaders speaking that the moral standards of the society are degrading. And that is true. Therefore, the second quality or the capabilities you must have, you may be a very expert scientist, you may be an expert engineer, You may be an expert doctor, capable doctor, but unless and until you are supported by moral values, your capabilities are not positively nurtured and they do not contribute to a very healthy society. So what I believe is that these two things we can inculcate, infuse, we can transmit through quality education to all the social elements, so that any social or economic problem or challenge can be faced very positively and can be arrived at a very good decision. With this belief, I started delivering invited talks to the school, college and PG students in last 10 years. Almost 200 plus lectures I have been delivered, and I enjoy these invited talks at the primary and secondary level students. Such innocent minds, they ask the questions that come to their mind. Therefore, if I want to tell you what is scientific attitude, the definition will not be helpful. It will fetch you some marks, but it is not helpful in your life. A scientist always search for the truth behind the event, truth behind any event or anything. So this attitude is already infused in our DNA. Only thing is that you must know how to nurture that and how to develop that. My today's talk, I have selected to tell you what these great minds, fertile minds have left for us. Are we really grateful to these people who have contributed to our successive progress, positive progress, or progress in science and technology? I hope all the audience is familiar with all these faces. There's this Copernicus, is Aristotle, Galileo, Newton, Faraday. He was a great observer, Copernicus, Maxwell, C.V. Raman. We must be proud of C.V. Raman because he was such an observer that you will be surprised to know that in 1 million collisions, scatterings, let us say, one scattering is Raman scattering, while all other are Rayleigh scattering. So can you imagine a person recognizing one collision out of 1 million? So that kind of concentration, that kind of vision should be there. He is my favorite, Richard Feynman, and you know him. I will take 3 of them to start with. You see that about 2,500 years ago, this philosopher, Chinese philosopher, Confucius, has told us without any gadget, without any advanced instrumentation, just by thinking, processing the thought process, and he has told us a very, very valid and truth of learning. What he says, you can read on the screen. Whatever you hear, whatever someone tells you, you ought to forget. You may remember it for some time, but you definitely forget. This is because recently it is proved that our audio memory is having only 15% weightage. 15%, I am telling you, 1-5. Then he says, if someone teaches me something, I will remember it for some time. Today's generation will remember it until the examination, if I believe. And what he says for the learner, involve me and I learn. Unless and until you are involved, you cannot learn. That is the message by the great philosopher 2500 years back. And look at the education system we have. How many students are participating in the curriculum? That is very frustrating picture, my friends. But even then, today's journey is a journey of gratitude. Therefore, we will try to remember the people and try to build up our own mindset, which will positive work from us. So this involvement is very important. Now I will call back our own childhood. You see that mother is taking the child along with her while she is doing her homework. And look at this video.
Hello.
Now there are three types of learnings you have seen actually. That child has taken the cognizance of the work of his mother. That is called cognitive learning. Then he has understood what his mother is doing and he has developed his attitude to do the same thing. That is called attitudinal learning. And then the brain commands to the body parts to complete the task. That is called psychomotor learning. So always remember, your learning begins with the cognizance. Cognizance is the prior and very, very foremost quality that should be in you so that you learn properly. Once you take the cognizance, you like to do the things and you start learning. During the same time, what Aristotle told us is very, very interesting. Now the first lesson, first message is for teachers as well as students, learners. The second one is for teachers. There are many teachers who feel that today's lecture was very fantastic. Everyone understood everything I spoke. But the truth is very different. You cannot guarantee that all the class is tuned up with you. There are very few learners in a class of 100. I will tell you today's value, that is less than 20%. All other students have their own business to do, own priorities. Therefore, Aristotle has recognized this. And long back, in the same time, before BC, before Christ, what he say? I may not teach you, but I can make you think. So primary job of a teacher is to make the students think. And when they will think, they will only think when they take the cognizance. When they will take the cognizance that you make your subject interesting, the students are waiting for you to speak. What I will get today, I will definitely get something. That should be the attitude of a teacher. And then I have selected the great mind, Einstein. You'll be surprised to know that this is the most lovable and very dear statement of Einstein, dear to him also. because he has recognized the actual God, creator. And what he says then, see, in the human civilization, we are talking about such a huge population. But if you go on counting the name of scientists, you will find very, very few. Now, why it is so? The reason is hidden in this statement. Subtle. You know the meaning of this word very well. Subtle. मतलब वो दिखता है और immediately चला जाता है. आपने देखा होगा सब लोग पेड़ से फल नीचे ही गिरते हुए देख रहे थे उन दिनों में, मगर हम कहते हैं कि न्यूटन को ऐसे लगा कि फल नीचे ही क्यों गिरता है, और उसके बाद में उसकी खोज शुरू हो गया और उन्होंने ग्रेविटेशन का खोज किया, ऐसा हम सुनते हैं. तो जब वो फल गिरा होगा उसी क्षण न्यूटन के मन में उसका कॉग्निजेंस आ गया, and then he started thinking on that. You got my point? तो सटल है. लॉर्ड मतलब जिसने भी ये बनाया है, क्रिएटर बोलते हैं उसको. वो नेचर को गॉड मानते थे आइंस्टाइन, आप सबको पता होना चाहिए. क्रिएटर. तो हमें लगेगा कि क्रिएटर इतना मैलिशियस है क्या हमारे बारे में, जानबूझकर करता है क्या? तो आइंस्टाइन कहते हैं नहीं, क्रिएटर वांट टू सी out of my creation how many they are having the quality I need in them, the quality of recognition, quality of realization. And that's why he says, though he is subtle, he is not malicious. वो दुष्ट बुद्धि से ऐसा नहीं करता है. वो देखना चाहता है कि कौन ऐसा है मेरा क्रिएशन जो मेरी क्रिएटिविटी का असल मकसद जानता है. तो आपने देखा होगा पूरी सिविलाइजेशन, पूरे लोग इन लोगों को कभी नहीं भूलेंगे, जो भी विचार करते हैं इनको कभी नहीं भूलेंगे. तो with this introduction, I will tell you first about the learning process. We are gifted by 5 sensors in our body. Whenever these senses has a stimulus, for example, you see something, you hear something, you taste something, you smell something, and you have a touch sensation. These are the 5 senses you know very well. As soon as you receive the stimulus, a thought occurs in your mind. As soon as the thought occurs, your mind is very, very curious. Remember, we have suppressed our curiosity, and that's why we have lost the joy of learning. We have lost the joy of learning. So, if I ask you a very simple question, out of these 5 senses, which sense you will keep at the top? Then I am sure that all of you, almost all of you, will call eye is the topmost organ, sense organ. Why you say that? You will find that interaction of all other organs is limited to a certain distance from your body. But your eye can see as far as, if I'm right or wrong, I don't know, but about 10 kilometers, they say, on a flat surface, you can see that. So, your eye is a very, very precious sensor you have. Hello? Hello? हाँ. आओ लेक्चर चालू है माझा, 1 minute. हाँ, so eye is your precious sensor. Now think about those who have lost their eyes. Those blind people, they cannot enjoy the beauty of creation. So our scientists are thinking about them. And now our scientists have developed such a camera that the legally blind people can see. Now you'll be surprised. It is a mixture of electronics, then biological scientists, and sensor technology. Now, look at this video. Now we have two types of vision, as you must know, central vision and peripheral vision. Is an answer or a question, because when we were child, we were observing everything around us and we were asking a lot of questions to our parents, mother especially, what is this, what to do with this and all that. So now I am giving you first two questions that has come to human mind. When you observe anything, you find two types of things around you. There are certain things which stay where they are. We call them static. There are certain things which show movement. So you have a static and dynamic state. So dynamism comes because of some invisible force or the energy. And therefore, the first question is, what is it? It, that is something that I see and sense. That was the first question that came to your mind when you were a child. We all were. Then one day you realize that there is a difference between red plastic ball and a red apple. Though they look same, you cannot eat plastic, but you can eat the apple. And the second question that comes to your mind is that the things are different from one another. So what are they made up of? ये चीजें कैसी बनी हुई है? So my friends, this entire journey of human civilization is to search the answers for these two questions. You will be wondering, once you start acquiring the knowledge by your curious mind, you get the information, you process the information to track the knowledge, and you apply the knowledge wisely for the progress. Once you feel that you have gathered all the knowledge of creation, of anything and everything, then the last question comes to your mind. You'll be surprised to know that all the great scientists, especially physicists, they become very, very spiritual at the end of their life. Because once they gathered the knowledge, true knowledge, truth, they started thinking that who and why it has, who and why created it. Today, I will try to answer first two questions by keeping the triggering of modern physics at the beginning of 20th century. So my main thrust will be to let you know the philosophical changes that came to the minds of scientists. And that's why I have given the name to my title topic, that modern physics, beginning of a new perception. Perception is what you perceive, what you see, what you feel. So that word is very, very important. Now let us talk about the first question. All being the postgraduate students, teachers, and researchers, The answer to the first question is, as you know, very, very simple. That is, whatever I see is called as a matter, and the movement in the matter is created by an invisible energy. If you take the stock of how much matter and energy is present in the universe, you can look at this simple picture. There is something to explain. Now see, this is normal matter, this is dark matter. You'll be surprised to know that the particle physicists, they're still thinking the importance of dark matter, energy. That is called dark because it is invisible, no doubt about that. If dark matter was not there, we would not be there. That is what the present concept tells us. Out of this 4% normal matter, you will be surprised to know that only 0.4% is luminous matter. That is, it creates its own energy. While, like us, non-luminous matter is 3.6%. Now, looking at this figure, you will realize that our role in the universe, our presence in the universe, even cannot be put on a point on a cosmic graph. But when you look inside you, you have a tremendous potential of progress, growth, and opportunities. Now the total mass and energy, it is conserved. This is the fundamental law we started with. Einstein was thinking about why nature has manifested itself into two, matter and energy. Is there any relation between them? And he found a famous mass energy relation, as you know, E is equal to mc square. It is the equivalence between matter and energy. What is the meaning? When I ask this question to my students in the class, I always find them answering in a very, very wrong way. E is equal to mc square. Mass m is equal to energy E. That is not the truth. The truth of this equation is that when you annihilate, it is an interconversion thing going on in the universe. You have to annihilate mass m. Annihilate means it should vanish from the universe. Then only E amount of energy can be created. On the contrary, if you consume E amount of energy, you can create M amount of matter. That's what the Einstein's relation tells us. And you'll be surprised to know, immediately after the discovery, this relation was put into a very destructive use to produce atomic bombs, in which nuclear fission created a tremendous amount of energy and which produced destruction in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But the same equation, same in reaction, nuclear fission, when it was controlled in a reactor, you get energy at a very, very steady flow. And that is what majority of countries are doing. They're using this nuclear energy or atomic energy, you call it. So any law of nature is subjected to the positive or negative use by humankind. Like what we have in our mind, you have a positive thinking and also a negative thinking. If you give scope to the negative thinking, your personality becomes negative. You do not see good thing in others. You do not see good things in anything. But what nature's demand is that you should increase your positivity and then what? So now you wonder when this matter and energy was created. So you know that there are many theories proposed, but now we believe that some 13.7 billion, 10 raised to 9 years, a Big Bang occurred when this entire thing were in a very, very small region, and explosion took place under its own gravity. And at that moment, space and time came into existence. This is a branch of science, cosmology, dealing with all these affairs. And if you find any research paper in cosmology, you will be surprised to know that it is totally highly mathematical. So the cosmologists are the scientists, they are having a very, very strong mathematical base. Now, the study of this matter and energy, their interrelation and interaction is what is called as a physics. And therefore, I can now very, very conveniently, convincingly say that physics is mother of sciences. No one can object that, because everything has started from these two questions for which we are searching the answers. Therefore, natural philosophy they used to call it. And then science or scientia word came into this one. Scientia, same word in Urdu is ilm, same word in Sanskrit is Vijnan. All the three words mean to know, to know. And now you will be surprised to know that when any question comes to your human mind, the mind is a searcher, search engine, you can say, like Google. Nowadays, we are not using our mind, but we are using Google platform to a large extent. That means you are giving rest to your mind, and that is where you are creating trouble for your growth and success, whatever you call it. So therefore, now we are very much familiar with this answer. When you start searching about the properties of matter, you started doing the business of looking inside with certain radiations, X radiations, like that. Then you formulated certain laws, you design the internal structure of solids, you differentiate between them, and then our search has begun for the creation, recreation of matter, tuning of the properties. As you saw in the next second lecture and the first lecture, they produce nanoparticles of the desired quality for the desired application. So all this research is founded on these simple principles told us by the nature. Now, let us go into the answer of second question. If I ask this question to my students, what is the matter made up of? That is, what is fundamental building block of matter? ये किस चीज से बना है? तो आपको ये पता चलेगा कि करीबन 2000 सालों से भी ज्यादा एक ऐसा शख्स है जो एंजॉय कर रहा है अपना स्टेटस, और वो शब्द है एटम. सो एटम इज द स्मॉलेस्ट थिंग which cannot be further broken. इससे छोटा इस विश्व में कुछ नहीं है. जो भी चीजें बनती है वो एटम से बनती है. एटम का साइज अलग अलग होने से चीजें अलग अलग होती है, ऐसा कहा था डेमोक्रिटस ने. Look at the time. It is almost 2500 years back. These are great philosophers. They were thinking. They were looking at the universe, sky. They were looking at themselves. They were looking at the surrounding. And our saints and rishis, spiritual scientists, they are called spiritual scientists. They looked inside and they went up to the level of atom. And you will be surprised to know that Dalton was the first in 19th century. It will be 19th century, an English scientist, and he proposed atomic theory of matter. And we learned all of the things in all the properties you have studied in your undergraduate or postgraduate region. And really, we are grateful to these people to start thinking. But now you can read the content. Until the end of 19th century, atom was considered to be the fundamental building block of matter. What is the peculiarity of atom? It should exhibit all the properties of the bulk matter. That's all. मतलब एक कॉपर का एटम जो है वो कॉपर की पूरी प्रॉपर्टीज की आपको मर्यादा बता देगा या एग्जिबिट करेगा. क्या है एटम की खासियत क्या है? हम तो देख नहीं सकते एटम को. एटम जो है वो बिल्कुल स्टेबल है, वो एक स्फीयर के जैसा है. तो मैं आपको सवाल पूछना चाहूंगा कि जो चीज दिखती नहीं है उसको हमने कैसे कह दिया कि स्फेरिकल है? इसका कारण हम डे टू डे लाइफ में एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं. आपने पढ़ा होगा सरफेस टेंशन के बारे में, तो उसमें हम कहते हैं for mass, spherical shape has minimum surface area. Every matter tries to have minimum surface area, and we have not seen raindrops cubical, pyramid like. We have always seen them spherical. We have not seen trunk of the tree like a triangular or any odd shaped, but they are circular. So like that, we assume it is a stable spherical structure. And what is the peculiarity? It is electrically neutral. It is electrically neutral. Now, periodic table was known to you during that time. I'm talking about end of the 19th century, that is 1850, 1870, 1890, like that. And the hydrogen was the first element. The universe is having hydrogen and helium plenty amount. And this interconversion is called nucleosynthesis. This is taking place and it is giving out energy, that is electromagnetic energy. So its size is 1 angstrom unit, that is 10 raised to minus 10 meter. You have solved many problems during your 12th standard. Find the radius of first Bohr orbit and you started doing the business. It was 0.5 angstrom. So size of the sphere or diameter will be 1 angstrom unit. Now actually, who challenged the word atom? You know that. Atom really enjoyed the status of the fundamental 1897. And during those times, the favorite experiment were gas discharge tube experiment and electrolysis or electrical energy. तो दोनों क्षेत्र में बहुत बड़ा काम चल रहा था. साइंटिस्ट जानना चाहते थे कि इलेक्ट्रिसिटी एयर में से कब जाती है, कौन से कंडीशन में. ऑर्डिनरी एयर नॉन कंडक्टिव, आपको मालूम है, नहीं तो हम जिंदा नहीं रह सकते थे. तो ऐसी कौन सी कंडीशन है जिस कंडीशन में इलेक्ट्रिसिटी एक जगह से दूसरी जगह चार्ज जा सकता है. दैट वाज द फंडामेंटल क्वेश्चन. इलेक्ट्रोलिसिस में क्या था? इलेक्ट्रोलिसिस में कि इलेक्ट्रिसिटी पैदा करने के कोई चांसेस है क्या, ये देखने के लिए इलेक्ट्रोलिसिस का पता चल रहा था. तो पहला ब्लो मिल गया एटम को जे थॉमसन की इलेक्ट्रॉन की डिस्कवरी के बाद. First, he unknowingly called these cathode rays because he found that the streams of colored streams are coming from cathode and going to the anode. And so he thought that it is like a wave because wave theory was well accepted, electromagnetic theory was accepted during that time. And you must know that we are always governed by the thought process of the social thought sphere or what is going on around us. We are influenced by that. And that influence will come in my talk in the coming time. Now, very interesting thing about J.J. Thomson, I will tell you. In 1897, he discovered electron, subatomic particle. He got Nobel Prize. After 30 years, his son J.P. Thomson, what J.J. Thomson said, electron is a particle having negligible mass and a charge 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb, and it is constituent of atom. Okay. His son, J.P. Thomson, proved that electron is a wave, matter wave. He also got the Nobel Prize. So father and son both received Nobel Prize, one telling a particle nature, another for telling wave nature of electron. Now this is not the only thing that triggered the change, but I have written it very nicely. The seeds of revolutionary breakthrough, revolutionary, पूरा नजरिया बदल गया हमारा इसके बाद, क्योंकि उससे पहले भी बहुत लोगों ने देखा था कुछ ना कुछ, मगर वो एग्जिस्टिंग थ्योरीज की वजह से कॉन्फिडेंटली कुछ कह नहीं सकते थे. तो क्या था ये? The seeds of revolutionary breakthrough were observations of quantized charge in gas discharge tube experiment. गोल्डस्टीन ने 1886 में एक्सपेरिमेंट करे थे और उन्होंने पॉजिटिव रेज की खोज की थी, मतलब पॉजिटिव आयंस हो, उनकी खोज की थी उन्होंने. सो एक्चुअली गोल्डस्टीन he discovered the quantized positive charge in 1886, but the Nobel Prize goes to Rutherford in 1918 for discovery of proton. Always remember. Wien 1998 and Thomson, as I told you, 1897. Faraday also discovered that the charge from anode to cathode 1836, around 1840 के बात कर रहा हूं मैं, कि किसी भी इलेक्ट्रोलिसिस एक्सपेरिमेंट में चार्ज ट्रांसफर एक मिनिमम चार्ज के मल्टीपल में ही होती है. तो असल में फैराडे ने पहला इलेक्ट्रॉन को देखा था, मगर उसका नाम नहीं रख सका वो. These experiments were the starting point. उसके बाद में दूसरी जो घटना हो रही थी वो अलग थी. उस वक्त जो भी डिस्कवरी हो रही थी उसका एक्सप्लेनेशन ठीक तरह से नहीं मिल रहा था. किनसे? क्लासिकल फिजिक्स की जो भी थ्योरीज थी वो ठीक तरह से बता नहीं पा रहे थे कि ये क्यों होता है. बिकॉज दे वर कंसिडरिंग द रेडिएशन as electromagnetic wave. What are the phenomenon they were bothering the scientific community? The first and foremost was black body radiation, which is a long discovery. 1860 किरचॉफ का काम था उसने. फोटो इलेक्ट्रिक इफेक्ट का काम था हर्ट्ज का. 1887 के बाद उन्होंने देखा था कि रेडिएशन ऑफ अल्ट्रावायलेट लाइट brings out charge from the metal surface. तीसरा था एटॉमिक स्पेक्ट्रा, जो एंगस्ट्रॉन ने 1850 में हाइड्रोजन का स्पेक्ट्रम देखा था पहले. और आज आप जब देखते हैं तो हाइड्रोजन का जो स्पेक्ट्रम है उसमें स्पेक्ट्रल सीरीजेस है 5 है अलग अलग रीजन में. उसमें जो विजिबल रीजन होता है उसमें हम बामर सीरीज कहते हैं. तो उसके बारे में हम बाद में बात करने वाले हैं. ये बातें थी तो हर कोई कुछ नया खोज रहा था, कुछ नई चीजें आने का इंतजार कर रहा था, क्योंकि they were bound by the classical physics and they were unable to tell you the truth underlying the particular event, particular discovery, or anything that is of curable nature. And at the same time, you will find that Max Planck very boldly introduced his quantum theory of radiation. He refused to accept wave nature of radiation, that is electromagnetic wave. But he said, no, the radiation is a stream of quanta. A quantum of radiation or light is called photon, according to quantum nature. For example, when I am speaking, according to wave aspect, classical physics aspect, I am producing longitudinal waves in the medium around me. According to the quantum picture, I am producing phonons. A quantum of sound energy is called phonon. A quantum of light energy is called as a photon. So now I am actually throwing phonons through you, towards you, but you are not able to receive because we are on a virtual platform. But my students in the classroom will definitely receive, and which is now prohibited due to Corona. Okay. So we should use the masks and take proper care. So Now, I want all of you to enjoy the journey as if you are there in that domain of time. Then and only then you will think as per the scientists of those days. And then only you can become a good researcher, a good teacher, and a good learner also. Because what I believe is that a good learner can only become a good teacher. Unless you learn something nicely, properly, you cannot reproduce it properly. So that is what I believe. So to capture, because many times what happens when we teach to our students, we assume many things that they're ready, they know all this, but I don't believe in that. Because I know that even if many of you are knowing all these things, still you will enjoy. Why? Because you will be proud of your knowledge. You will be proud of your learning processes and learning habits. Those who don't know, they will take it as a surprise to them. A good thing is coming to me, so I must listen that. I must try to change. So, unless and until you are synchronized with the narrator, you are synchronized with your teacher, you cannot learn properly. Now here what is shown is that the dispersive power of prism is utilized to split the light coming from the discharge tube. This discharge tube has hydrogen or anything. Previously you were looking at the neon signs on the shops. These were the low discharge gas discharge tube, low voltage gas discharge tube, and they had mixture of inert gases to produce different colors. So this is the hydrogen. There are two electrodes. The hydrogen gas is at very low pressure of the order of 10 raised to minus 3 millimeter of Hg, and a potential of more than 10,000 volt by the induction coil. And nowadays by multiplier voltage supplier can be applied between the two electrodes. Discharge of the gas will take place. Discharge is nothing but ionization, and the respective ions will start moving towards respective electrodes, and you see a kind of radiation coming out of that. This radiation through those two slits you can put on the prism, and what you observe is called as a spectrum. Now you are aware that there are three types of spectra. One is continuous spectrum, that is coming from the sun. Any hot or incandescent body will give out continuous spectrum. That means all types of wavelengths like rainbow. So hot incandescent body gives out continuous spectrum. If you take the matter in the molecular form, molecule, KMnO4 molecule, if I put in front of the prism or here, if I put, then you will find instead of line, there are bands. So band spectrum for molecular state. And if you have the matter, because here it is not H2, remember, it is H atom. H2 is molecule, H is an atom. So actually H2 is split into HH, and then the drama starts. So this is the line spectrum. So now we have two properties of the atom in front of us. One, it is a stable. Electron is part of it. It is electrically neutral. Therefore, it must have equal positive and negative charges. And there, the modern physics began with healthy blend. हमने क्लासिकल फिजिक्स को पूरी तरह से गलत नहीं कभी बताया. हमने उनको भी साथ में लिया है, उनको भी साथ में लिया है. किसी का अपमान करना अच्छी बात नहीं है. ऐसा हम कभी नहीं कह सकते कि ये गलत है पूरा. Everything, everyone has some this one. So I will stop after this one, this slide, and I will speak to the host. So it is a science, and you know, in the first decade of 20th century, Einstein explained photoelectric effect. He got Nobel Prize. देन जीन वीन रैले ब्लैक बॉडी रेडिएशन के बारे में, आइंस्टाइन ने इलास्टिक कोलिजन का उपयोग किया बिटवीन एटम एंड इलेक्ट्रॉन और फोटॉन और इन्होंने सिंपल हार्मोनिक ऑसिलेटर का कंसेप्ट यूज किया क्वांटम मैकेनिक्स का. सो दे यूज द क्वांटम थ्योरीज एंड थैंक to the duality of radiation, that is energy. Now our next venture is to enter into the atomic model, but before that I would like to take feedback from the audience, because already I have spoken for more than 1 hour and 15 minutes and I don't want to create panic in your mind. So maybe Mr. Netram.
जी डॉक्टर साहब, मैं डॉक्टर दीक्षित, थैंक यू वेरी मच.
हाँ दीक्षित साहब, अभी 1 घंटा तो हो गया. इसके बाद में जो हम एटॉमिक थ्योरी में जाने वाले हैं
सर,
हाँ, उसमें अगर ऑडियंस की इच्छा हो तो भी चलेंगे. आपका क्या कहना है?
सर एक्चुअली 12 बजे से ज्यादा आगे नहीं जा सकते क्योंकि 12 बजे.
हाँ वही इसीलिए मैंने पूछा. अभी यहाँ तक अभी 11:45 हो गया ना.
जी जी, तो अगर 15 मिनट्स में अगर होता है तो अगर 15 मिनट्स में होता है तो सर कंटिन्यू करें. हेलो 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 सर, मेरी आवाज आ रही है? पाटिल सर, मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
सर आपकी आवाज तो आ रही है लेकिन शायद पाटिल सर की आवाज नहीं आ रही है सर.
अच्छा
जी.
हेलो 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 पाटिल साहब, हेलो. पाटिल सर की आवाज नहीं आ रही.
हाँ सर, आवाज नहीं आ रही सर की.
पाटिल सर, आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है, मेरी आवाज आपके पास पहुंच रही है? हेलो, वो तो डिस्कनेक्ट हो गए. रवि.
हाँ सर, डिस्कनेक्ट हो गए सर.
डिस्कनेक्ट हो गए.
यस सर. सर शायद नेत्राम सर आ गए हैं.
आ गए?
यस.
हेलो नेत्राम. हेलो. हाँ आ तो गए नेत्राम, लेकिन नेत्राम अनम्यूट.
दीक्षित सर, आप मुझे सुन रहे हैं?
जी सुन रहे हैं सर, सुन रहे हैं.
हाँ, तो मैं क्या कह रहा था, अभी तक का जो जर्नी हमारा है ना
सर,
तो यहाँ तक हम आ चुके हैं, मगर इसके बाद में जो एटॉमिक मॉडल्स है उसमें मुझे बहुत कुछ रिसर्च के बारे में बताना है.
सर is it possible to conclude that in 15 minutes?
नो सर, बहुत फास्ट होगा वो और मुझे अच्छा नहीं लगेगा सर.
सर एक्चुअली
और ऑडियंस को भी अच्छा नहीं लगेगा.
हाँ, आफ्टर 12 we have to.
Do you have any feedback from the audience that are they in tune up with me or what like that? अभी 15 मिनट में जितना जाता हूँ उतना जाता मैं. आप क्या सुझाव?
एक्चुअली 12 बजे के बाद
नहीं आ रहे हैं.
हम 12 बजे के बाद
क्वेश्चन सेशन कर लीजिए सर. क्वेश्चन सेशन कर लीजिए.
आप
एनी क्वेरी वाला जो है, एनी क्वेश्चन इज
अभी जो हाँ क्वेश्चन जरा क्वेरी लीजिए यहाँ तक.
रवि वो करो.
ओके सर,
करो सभी को.
यस सर.
शासन हमको बता था, अभी भी हमारे एरिया को कंटेनमेंट नहीं लिया.
हम लेके रख ले.
आर की जगह हमने कैपिटल आर रख दिया इक्वल टू बी ई की पावर माइनस.
सर, एम आई ऑडिबल?
यस, you can ask one by one.
अपने पास इक्वेशन ए और k1 को अच्छा
Participants can give their questions to the WhatsApp, so I will.
Hello. Hello.
Yes. Any question?
Hello. Yeah, hello.
Yes, you can ask your question.
हाँ.
Hello. Am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Yes sir.
Sir, my question is in quantum mechanics. I am in BSc,
Okay.
so my I'm learning quantum mechanics now. But sir, I have been thinking that if we develop some hypothetical camera that allows us to see the atom and electron, so will we be able to see a discrete electron revolving around a proton? Because we define electron by a differential equation. So if we develop some hypothetical camera that allows us to magnify magnify atom and slow it down, so will we be able to see a discrete electron that would be revolving around proton?
Okay. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Please, first you go and read about the field ion microscopy. You will find answer in that.
Yes,
answer to your question lies in the field ion microscopy. So please check that. And actually nowadays we are able to see at the atomic level. But the picture itself, that is the electron is revolving around the nucleus, is not the concluding one. That is what we are entering into the new zone. No? That's why I'm entering into the new zone. So remember, I have not started with the atom models. Your question is definitely good, but your answer lies in the field ion microscopy. Read about that.
Hello.
Please. Yes,
Hello.
please.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Hello.
बोलिए.
Sir, I am from engineering background. I have to ask you that this in the Schrodinger equation, in the quantum mechanics, in the Schrodinger equation, are we able to define the dimension and unit of psi?
That actually that will come in my talk during the vector atom model. That is the end model, which is we have developed and many scientists have contributed. And to tell you the truth, Schrodinger applied his quantum mechanics and he solved the hydrogen problem. He was the first to give the logical outcome of quantum numbers, and he was the
but sir,
condition was necessary.
Hello,
yes,
but sir, are we able to define the dimension in by the classical physics?
Classical dimension define मतलब आपका क्या कहना है? We have with certain experiments like Rutherford scattering.
Yes.
Rutherford scattering में हमें पता चला है एटम का साइज क्या है.
Okay.
एटम का साइज हमें कब पता चला? क्योंकि हम देख तो नहीं सकते ना माइक्रोस्कोपिक वर्ल्ड. हमें क्या करना चाहिए? उसका प्रपोज करके प्रॉपर्टीज देखते उसको रियलाइज करना चाहिए. ऐसा होता है साइंस में. क्या होता है? What you see, you try to explain, or what you predict, you try to discover. It is like that. These are the two ways.
Okay, sir. Okay,
I
sir.
hope
Thank you.
I am comfortable with you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Are you interested to knowing about the future that up to the vector atom model? If you are interested, we can keep one more session sometime. Yes, please. Netram?
Yes, sir. Netram? Hello, Netram?
Please.
नेत्राम सर कहाँ हैं?
आप दीक्षित सर क्या चल रहा है अभी? क्या बोलेंगे? आपने क्वेश्चन तो ले लिए. अब मेरे लिए क्या आदेश है बताइए.
सर मैं तो आपको अब धन्यवाद दूंगा. कोई और दिन एक लेक्चर रखूंगा आपका. आज मैं आपके वैल्यूएबल टाइम को लेने के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. सभी पार्टिसिपेंट्स को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, क्योंकि हमें 12 बजे के बाद एक दूसरा कॉन्फ्रेंस करना है. इसलिए जो है ना, अब जो नेक्स्ट जो आप बताने जा रहे हैं दैट विल टेक टाइम.
ये इतना पूरा स्लाइड्स है देखो सर.
जी.
इतना पूरा स्लाइड्स है ये.
हाँ तो सर मैं आपको जो है ना फिर कभी एक और टाइम देता हूँ सर, आपसे चर्चा करता हूँ.
वही बात कर रहा था मैं. वही बात कर रहा था. वो अच्छा रहेगा.
Because in 15 minutes it cannot be concluded.
या नो सर. मैं